God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen, God save our Queen. We did it! We did it! We won on penalties! Yay! I tell you what, if any of you watched the match, oh my lordy, Miss Claudie. Between you and me, I think we were kind of lucky because nobody seemed to be able to finish in the penalty area apart from 5 penalties. We were lucky to get that the penalty, although to be honest, I think we deserved to have the penalty. We did deserve it. But well, any other time, we didn't look dangerous at all. And every time Colombia got the ball, that was it. I was like, ah! Ah! I know this stream is going to be about something else, but I had to get the World Cup out of the way. And the other thing is, the teen went to see it in the local pub. He said, Mum, I've never had so many hugs in all my life. He said, from complete strangers. They were coming up and saying, ah! And giving him a big hug. He said, in the last penalty when we won, this little woman jumped up into his arms, because he's quite big, my boy. And he was just standing there holding it. And he said, she hung on for ages. I couldn't get rid of her. Did make me laugh. Anyway, that's the end of the football. How are we all? Are we good? Are we good? I have to say, went out in the garden a little while ago. I was like, these are just swarms of flying ants. The flying ants are back, guys. Be careful. And I was watching Wimbledon, which is all a bit of a earlier on because there's nothing else on and no football on, is there? And they were saying that Wimbledon has been, there's a word I keep wanting to use, besieged by flying ants. I thought, well, they must be all over the place because I'm nowhere near Wimbledon. But anyway, that's by the by. Are we all good? I hope we're all good. I use this on the flying ants. See that? I thought, no, I'm not having it. Because there was like, underneath my patio doors, there's like all these loads of ants and things. And I thought, no, I've got to get rid of them. So that's that. So I'm all hot and bothered now. All hot and bothered. Are we good? Are we good? Hello, everybody. Hello. I hope I find you well. So let's say hello to Brandon, Mason, Rye, Ollie, and can't see anybody else at the moment. I hope you're all very good. I hope I haven't missed you. Okay, we're not talking EastEnders tonight. Do you know what? Tonight we're going to talk something really serious. Did you see the my thumbnail that I put on? We're going to talk about this situation of surrogacy in the LGBT community. Nearly got it wrong. God, I'm a twat. Anyway, so I'm going to have to move these things around on my desk, on my desktop, so that I can see. I've just realised I'm not going to be able to do that bit that I wanted to do. Right, okay, yes I am. I don't know if Eric will call or not. He caught me the other day. Again. Bless him. He's such a sweetie. Anyway, so I think, do you know what doesn't help is this lamp. Look how rosy I look today. I went a bit mad on the blusher, didn't I? Yes, Mason is right. It is LGBTQ and it can be I on the end or it can be a plus on the end. I'm not a member of the community, but I'm very open-minded and I have friends who are members of the community. And I've had quite a few friends who are members of the community. Right, okay, so predominantly we could start on the Tom Daley situation. I cannot believe the rubbish that I have seen on there and the hate. So if I can just sort of read out a few things that I've found, and then we can, you know, open it up to discussion. What do you guys think? Do you think that's a good idea? So what I found on there is, oh, hang on a minute, let's go back there. I'm not very good at multitasking. I think it's very sad in today's world that Tom Daley actually found it unsafe to travel to Russia because of his sexuality. You know, I just don't... It's just prejudice. I mean, and obviously as a mixed race person, I know what prejudice is like, and it's no different really. People are just as hateful towards you know, if they're racially prejudiced or whether they're LGBT prejudice. It's just a very hateful world, and you get these pockets of people who are just so filled with anger and hate towards it. I mean, is it because they're scared of it? I don't know. So sadly, in today's world, as with homosexuality prejudice, there's also still, you know, a lot of racial prejudice out there. Who are we trying to kid if we're saying that there isn't? There is, you know. So, okay, let's read back on some of the things. Apparently, I don't know if you've heard of this, what do they call them, a company called Mumsnet, which is, it's huge. And I think users accused, right, okay, let's just open this. Okay, now Mumsnet users, hopefully you've heard of them, have accused Tom Daley of child abuse for becoming a father. I think that's awful. I just think that's awful. Right, I'm going to open that up and just read a bit of this nastiness. Right, just bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to be clever and do it all on here. No, get off. Oh, now I've got this blooming great big... Right, okay. Get off. Right, okay. Right, a surrogate carried the child for the married couple who used IVF to fertilise an egg from a donor. The surrogate has asked not to be named in media coverage, and her identity is being protected over fears of tabloid intrusion. But users of internet parenting forum Mumsnet, who I've said is huge, which has recently faced accusations of becoming a hotbed of anti-transgender organising, turned their fire on Daley over the announcement. Members of the Mumsnet Women's Rights Board, which is dominated by self-identified radical feminist campaigners who lead pressure campaigns against transgender inclusivity, lashed out at Daley. In a thread, the mother of Tom Daley's child, users vented about the couple's parenthood and speculated about the identity of the surrogate, who was repeatedly confused with an egg donor and erroneously referred to as the biological mother. One shocking message, since deleted by Mumsnet, stated the baby was both deprived of its mother and abandoned by its mother. That this happened was planned. I consider that to be child abuse. See, the thing is, these people that come out with this type of crap obviously don't understand what surrogacy is. Surrogacy is when you plant a seed, a sperm into the egg outside of a mother. So there is no biological mother, because what then happens is the fertilized egg is then put into another womb. So there is no biological mother. That's what these people don't understand. So when you read that hatred, you realise that it's just ignorant. Absolute ignorance. So let me just read what you've said here. People are going to be homophobic and anti-LGBTQ. It's all just wasted breath. They'll claim they're looking out for the child's best interests, yet they won't bother trying to help kids who are actually being abused. Yes, I totally agree with that. Totally. A person's sexuality has no bearing on their parenting skills, in my opinion. There's heterosexual parents who are rubbish. So their children aren't taken away from them because they're heterosexual, or those children are not going to grow up to be bullied because their parents are heterosexual. It's so wrong. Right. If they want children and want to support children and love them, dedicate time and have the feeling of being a parent, go for it. Nothing wrong in my eyes. No need to discriminate. This is why I love my guys. Right, okay, someone else has put, I think it is fine if they are a loving parent, but it can be regarded as normal and just like everyone else, which I disagree with. But I have no problems with the LGBTQ. Okay. Somebody else has put, Mumsnet is an online forum primarily aimed at mums. Yes. Offered as a chat room. Yeah. Okay. So far, you're all kind of agreeing with the points that I'm trying to make. I don't want to dwell on Mumsnet spreading verbal diarrhea and bullshit. Hate them. I'll be back on when Eric calls. Tom Daley has done nothing wrong. Speak later, Jan. I'm leaving. Oh dear, Mason's gone. Not really sure why, but perhaps he'll come back on later. Yes, this isn't all about Mumsnet. It's about the process of homosexual couples or lesbian couples being able to have a surrogate child, a surrogate baby. Let's see. What else? I think it's becoming more and more common, but it doesn't mean to say that there aren't nasty troll people out there prepared to attack them. But then it's the same with the black community. So where humans are involved, then you're always going to get nasty people. Okay, someone else here has put, where was the outrage when Kardashian and countless other straight couples used a surrogate? Where is the evidence a child's need for attachment is gender specific? Homophobic, narcissistic bigots serving their own sick agenda. I totally agree. I totally agree with that saying, with that statement. Yeah, I'm really surprised about Mumsnet. It's the first I've seen of it. I've actually got the stream up of Tom Daley so that I can read off things, and I hadn't read down that far. So right, so somebody, okay. Do you support the theft of organs? Shall we abolish all organ donation? Well, we don't really want to go down that way. What I want to say is, right, okay. Someone here, a man, has said, I'm hating all these same-sex parent-child abuse comments. Statistically, in the UK, a child is more at risk of child abuse by a heterosexual married male than same-sex parents. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you get some awful. I don't know where they get their ideas from. I really don't. Oh, I've run out of quotes there already. Yeah, so what I wanted to talk about, let me just have a look on here. Okay, I respect them because they are looking out for the welfare of the child, or at least they think they do. I think they are misguided people who have just been steered in the wrong direction. Yeah. My best friend, who's gay, has been abused for years for being gay. Yes, I know of gays that have been beaten up just for walking up the street. And beaten up badly and put in hospital because of it, and very nearly died. So I know it goes on, but I think the thing with Twitter, where it's a public forum, you're always going to get people coming on, and you get nasty people coming on who just want to spout hate, whether it's against the blacks, whether it's against the homosexuals, the LGBT community, whether it's against Asians. Any minority group is always open to abuse online, as indeed they are in the real world. It's just the fact. And it's a very sad fact, and people need to just get on with their own lives and leave people alone. To me, I find it amazing that two men can have a child. I mean, I can sort of get my head around the fact that two women have a child, because normally it's one of the women that does physically have the child. That I watch One Born Every Minute, and there's been a couple of gay women on there, and normally in that situation it's one of the women has actually carried the child and given birth to the child, and then they both share it. But it fascinates me, when I first heard about it, it fascinates me that two men can have their own child, and it is their own child. They both produce the sperm. The sperm is then put into the egg and then transferred, and the egg comes from whoever, I suppose. See, now that the egg doesn't come from the surrogate. Who's a surrogate? The woman who produces the egg, or the woman who gives birth? Who's the biological mother? So it's very complicated, and for me, it's really interesting. I find it fascinating. And so what happens is I can't think what they say, fertilise a number of eggs, and then plant one or two eggs into the carrier. Now, the carrier isn't actually related to that child, to the child that's growing within her. She's just a vessel for that child. So when she gives birth, that child doesn't belong to her. It actually belongs to the men, or the man who's the biological father of that child. So it is very, very complicated. And, these people that spout their venom against, gay men having children, don't understand that. So they're saying, I read some things where people were saying, it's not fair, it's child abuse, taking the child away from its natural mother. Who's the natural mother? Who's the natural mother? Is it the mother who produced the eggs? Or is it the mother who delivered the child? Who is it? They're talking absolute rot, absolute crap. The problem is there's an awful lot of the problem is that there's an awful lot of ignorant people, and the ignorant people are the dangerous ones. It's like with the Trump situation. He managed to get all the ignorant people to vote him in, because maybe there's more of them than there are people that care. And so, the vast majority of intelligent Americans are like up in arms over the fact that they've got this maniac as the president of their country. But it was all the roughnecks that, you know, didn't have a bloody clue that he managed to persuade to vote for him because they haven't got any brain cells. And that's the same with these bigots that go on Facebook and Twitter slagging off the likes of Tom Daley and other men who have gone through the process of having their own child. They're not, they haven't done it because they had nothing better to do on the Saturday night. They've done it because they really wanted to do it. Now, I can't vouch for Tom Daley and his husband as a couple. As far as I know, they haven't been together very long, and that would be my only worry. I'd think, well, you know, they haven't been together very long. I hope it's going to be okay. Now, in their situation, they both produced the sperm, but only one of them was put into I'm going to call her the carrier because that's all she is. Only one of the eggs was put into the carrier mother. And so they don't know which child has their DNA No, they don't know the DNA of the child yet. It will soon become apparent because Tom Daley and his fella look very different. So obviously, as the child grows, they'll see similarities. They'll see, you know, facial similarities and that. So it will become apparent in time. And no doubt the media will be there with their cameras in the child's face, and it will spend the whole of its life being told, oh yeah, you're definitely Tom Daley's child, or oh no, you're definitely his husband's child. Whose business is it? But I want to tell you a story of this couple that I put on my thumbnail. They're called Mchusbands. Now, what they did was both produced the sperm, had about 8, I think. I might be wrong. I don't know where I've got 8 from. I might have made it up. And had 2, one from each of them, put inside the carrier. So they've now got these twins. The most beautiful twins you've ever seen. They're now 7 months old. Hang on a minute. They're now 7 months old. They're called the Mchusbands. If you're interested, check them out on YouTube. I love them. So, these twins have the DNA from each of the men. And you can see, as these little girls are growing up, you can see one of them is a spitting image of one of them, and the other one is a spitting image of the other one. And it's fascinating, and I, for one, am excited to live in a world where that is possible. I just think it's incredible. You know, forget all the homophobic crap that goes on around. Look at the medication. Look at the I can't even think of the word. Look at the way medicine and science has evolved in that it's able to do that. So these men who have lived with the fact that they're gay from day dot, because they're born gay, and have always thought that they would never ever have their own child, can now have their own child. They can have their own children. And I love watching this family. They are amazing. I love them to bits. Right, okay, so someone's talking, is this IVF treatment? Yes, it is kind of IVF treatment, Ollie. Yeah, of course, right, there are horrible people in real life, but more often than not, people online are just playing a sick joke, at least in my experience. People are a lot braver online, Ollie. You know, they hide behind the screen. Okay. Oh, hi, Tan. Look at Liam and Cheryl. They had a child and they didn't last a year. Exactly. Exactly. Some guy I was reading was so hateful. The crap he was coming up with, like, oh, gays never stay together longer than 5 years. And so what's going to happen with the poor child? And gays had more lovers than anybody else, so you know they're what's the word, promiscuous, so they shouldn't be allowed to have kids. Why shouldn't they be allowed to have kids if medicine has reached a point where it can help them? Why not? And then you get idiots like Liam and Cheryl, who obviously, like, I think they thought they were going to be the next Posh and Bex. I really do. That's what I think. But it all went wrong. Stupid as hell. Given birth to this child, who'll probably be all right. But, do you see what I mean? And yet, I mean, I know gay couples that have been together for years and years and years. And like I said earlier on, the only thing that does worry me a little bit with the Tom Daley and his husband having a baby so soon is they haven't been together very long, like Cheryl and Liam. Okay. I'm sure it is very expensive. I'm sure it is. Right, someone's put, might go off topic here, but did you hear about the Tumblr storm last night? Basically, non-offending paedophiles coming out saying they should be part of LGBTQ. No. No, I haven't heard of that, Ollie. What's that about? Non-offending paedophiles? What's a non-offending paedophile? Just the fact that he thinks he's a paedophile is bad enough. Doesn't have to go out and offend people. Just the fact that he's admitting to being a paedophile, that's an offence in itself. They want to be called MAPS, maturely attracted person. What? Or something like that. I've never heard anything like that, Ollie. Is it a joke? Is it? See, one thing that really annoys me is when people liken LGBT community to paedophilia. The two don't ride together. You know, one doesn't come with the other. I'm sure there have been some homosexual paedophiles, but I'm sure there's been just as many heterosexual paedophiles. So a paedophile that hasn't committed anything or assaulted anyone, but then who's going to know? What, he's going to admit to being a paedophile? Oh, I think that's disgusting. I really think that's disgusting. Never heard anything like it in my life. That's just dreadful. I'm sorry, but these people, you know, they need to sort themselves out, you know. God, I'm speechless. Doesn't happen very often. You've made me speechless. Jeez Louise. So that was one family I was telling you about. So the other family I watch also is a couple called Matt and Blue. Matt is somebody called Matt Dallas, who's been on TV programmes, films. He's an actor, American guy. And eventually he came out as being gay, which I think broke quite a few girls' hearts. And Anyway, he's now married to this guy called Blue Hamilton, and I follow them on YouTube. Love them. They upload every Tuesday. Anyway, they adopted, and this is different. It wasn't surrogacy. They adopted a little boy and called Crow, and their videos are just delightful. They give this little boy that they treasure such a wonderful, clean, amazing life. They've just moved to Arizona. They used to live in LA, I think because of Matt's work. And they're just very earthy, down-to-earth guys. The fact that they're homosexuals means nothing to me. And hopefully will mean nothing to their little boy, because he is being brought up in such an open-minded community. Obviously, he has female influences. Both the men have got family, they've got sisters, they've got mothers and grandmothers and whatever. But this little boy could not be loved anymore, and they give him a wonderful life. And they also take him like to Pride events. They teach him about things. Then they also take him on, they're quite active in that they take him along to, I can't think of the words, campaigns or whatever, you know, against the guns and what have you. And there was something going on about children in America recently, wasn't there, about looking after their kids, and they take him along to that. So he's not... See, I think what some ignorants think is that if the child is brought up by two gay men, that they're going to force feed him homosexuality. That's not going to happen. It's like, do we force feed ours? Did I force feed my 4 kids heterosexuality? No. And if one of them had said to me, Mum, I'm gay, then I would have gone, okay. Do you know what I mean? What is the point in making life harder for people? Life is hard enough as it is. Jesus. So that's another couple to watch. They're called Matt and Blue. And they do very sort of cinematic. Oh, cinema. I can't even think of the word. Their videos are very well produced and filmed. Cinematic. I knew I'd get there in the end. Oh, wow, Ollie, that's very interesting. You've got a very different perspective on that to me, but that's fine. Yes, the child may go to school and get picked on by other kids because he doesn't have a mum, but what if his mother had died? What if something had happened? What if his mother had left as soon as he was born? He'd still go through the same thing, wouldn't he? Who are you talking about, Brandon? They do have a very nice little boy. Yes, that's exactly what I said, Brandon. Who are you talking about, Rye? Do you watch Matt and Blue? They make like little films. They're so artistic, and yet Blue was born in like the Midwest or something, so his best place to live would be on a ranch, so they're always going out into the countryside, and they're sharing their love of nature with their son, and that to me is wonderful. Mason, we only touched on Mumsnet, darling, because that was the first thing I read on the feed. Oh, so you watch Matt and Blu-ray? Oh, and so do you, Brandon. I love Matt and Blue. Don't you love the way they film? And yes, he is going to be, he is going to have somebody come up and say, oh, where's your mum? Or, you know, something. But then, supposing his mum had died at childbirth, or his mum had had an accident and wasn't around, he'll get used to knowing what to say. And, you know, he could well turn around and say, no, I've got two dads. You know? Do you know what, Ollie? I really respect what you've said there. I'm not going to say I agree with it, because we all have different perspectives on things. But I really respect what you've said there. That shows true intelligence and caring, Ollie. I'm really impressed with that. I really am. I'm not saying I agree with you, but what I'm saying is, for you to feel that way is wonderful. That you can have such sympathy for people like that. That's incredible. I'm afraid I'm not like that, but I really respect what you've said there. Do you mind if I read that out? So Ollie said, I think if paedophilia was treated differently and more like a mental illness, then it could help hundreds of thousands of innocent people that have been dealt a rough card with their sexual preference. Yeah. Do you know, that is such a good response. That is such an interesting, debatable response. And I don't feel I'm capable of having that discussion with you, really, because as a mother and as a grandmother, just the whole thought of it makes me sick. So I can't really give an unbiased opinion on that. But I really respect that you've written that down, Ollie, and that you've had the courage to write it down, and that I know that you stand by what you say. And I'm very impressed with that, Ollie. I really am. And I'm really impressed that some of you guys have watched Matt and Blue. Also, watch Mchusbands. I mean, it took me a while to get into them because one of them's a bit like that. But I tell you what, when you get into them and you read their stories, go back to the beginning, you know, to earlier videos, and try and learn about what they went through and how this has come to pass, and you'll find it really interesting. And to me, it doesn't matter what sexuality they are. What has sexuality got to do with it? If you've got a love, if you've got that feeling in you, whether it's paternal or maternal, and want to have your own child, why should you not be able to do it? And some would say, oh, well, the Bible said, blah, 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 blah. Sod the Bible. The Bible said an awful lot of things, and people read and interpret things in the Bible the way they want to. It doesn't mean that it's the right thing. And I just feel in 2018 that it's just incredible. It's just amazing. To me, it's like, you know, as significant as putting a man on the moon, because Who would have thought years and years ago that men could have their own biological baby if they were homosexual? I think it's wonderful, and I think if one of my sons was homosexual, I'd want that for them. And if they said to me, you know, if they were and they were in a relationship, a long-term relationship, and they said to me, "Oh, Mum, we really want to have kids," I'd definitely encourage them to go down that line. I mean, some of them don't go down the surrogacy line, but some of them do. And, you know, some of them go for adoption. And we all know what happens with adoption in heterosexual families. So I can't see how it's going to make any difference whether the adoptive parents are of the same gender or heterosexual. I can't see any difference there. A bad egg is a bad egg. Just because one of the eggs happens to be like an egg of the same shape doesn't mean to say that they're wrong. They're born that way. Yeah. Oh, God, you're sounding really old there, Brandon, saying years ago gay meant happy. It's true. And I remember there was a comedian, who was it? He used to say, "Oh, what a gay day." Was that Larry Grayson? Now we know, I mean, back in the day, it did mean it was a gay day. It was a nice, happy day. But maybe he knew that it did mean the other way as well. I don't know. I don't know when it first came out, to be honest. Yes, I totally agree with you there, Ollie. The Bible does contradict itself over and over again, and also different religions who read the same Bible disagree on different things. You know, that's a difference between, under the Christian umbrella, Catholicism is under that. They are still under the Christian umbrella, as is Islam. But the only difference is they call their God something different, whereas we call ours God, and certain other sectors of the same religion call him something else. And I think the only other religion that is different and has more than one God are the Sikhs. Because I think they have about, I don't know how many gods they have, but they have quite a few gods. They have a god for this and a god for that and a god for this and that. But Christians and Catholics, and I think also Islam, all have, Muslims, all have the same God. But they just call it something different. So, you know, it's... I don't think religion should come into it. Do you know, Tam, as much as I dislike Rylan because I think he's a prat and I think he's untalented, he and his husband have been together for quite a long time, and good luck to them. If they want to have a child, I'm sure, you know, it's genuine. I don't mind who has a child as long as they want it. Because there's so many children born today that aren't wanted. I wasn't wanted. I was like put on the first train out. I was born in London and put in the first train out of London because I wasn't wanted. I don't think you're the only semi-religious person there, Ollie. I'm also a religious person, but I'm more spiritual. I don't, I was brought up a Catholic, no, oh God, I was brought up a Christian, and I did used to go to church all the time as a child, so I've been to church, schools and all the rest of it, but I find myself more as a a spiritual person now. I would say I'm a spiritualist. I wouldn't say I'm really religious. I have a faith, but the faith is my own, and maybe it takes bits out of that and it takes bits out of this. But yeah, you're not the only semi-religious person here, Ollie. Don't worry, darling. I have to tell you something. You know, religion is. It's such a difficult thing to talk about, and I don't think that I'm. No, it's not the Hindus. Is it the Hindus that have the same God, or is it Judaism that has the same God? Anyway, I don't know. I shouldn't really be talking about it. But when my daughter was very ill, those of you that have followed me know that my daughter got very ill. Was it last year or the year before? Very ill. And one day she had to have this major operation, and I was in pieces, and I went to see my old next door neighbour who's Muslim, and she's like a soulmate. We call each other soul sisters. And I went to see her. And I also contacted a friend of mine who's Jewish and told him. And so I got this text back from him saying, I'm praying for her. And then I went to see my neighbour, my friend, and we sat at her table. So there's me, the Christian. There's my Jewish friend on the end of the phone, and there's my Muslim soul sister. And we sat there and we prayed together for my daughter. That's what religion is to me. So I don't, you know, I can't. And that meant so much to me. And I remember telling them both that how much that meant to me, because we covered every angle that day. So it's just such a shame that wars start because of religion. They don't have to start because of religion. And, you know, wars don't have to start because of homosexuality or, you know, and arguments and nastiness doesn't have to be spurted because of people that are different. We should embrace our difference, embrace our differences, learn from other people's differences. I'm so interested in other people's differences, and that's like their sexuality, that's their lifestyle, that's their religion. I'm very interested in people, and that's why, you know, it really hurts me to see so much vitriol online from these nasty, sneaky, nasty people. So yeah, made me get a bit emotional there, guys. But yeah, so that's what religion means to me. So if people ask me what my religion is, I normally say, well, I was brought up a Christian, but I'm more spiritual now. And, you know, that's one of the reasons. Oh, that's nice, Brandon. Have you, Rye? You've been following me since 2015. Oh, my God. Oh, I was rubbish back then. So much better now. Oh, 2016. Yeah, I haven't been on since 2015. Yeah, I've only been doing it a couple of years, really, now. Well, the last year, properly. Anyway, guys, is there anything else you want to say on that subject? of the homophobia and the surrogacy. Do you all understand about the surrogacy now? There are different ways that the LGBT community can become parents. And one of them is most definitely surrogacy. But that doesn't mean that a poor mother has been made to have this baby, promised thousands of pounds, and then had to give away her poor baby. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Oh, yeah. Ollie says he's been following me since the day after Val was kicked off Bake Off. Oh, I know, what a travesty. Poor Val. Anyway, guys, I think we've come to the end of it tonight because I wanted it to be a serious discussion. If there's anything else you want to put down, then please do put it down before I go. But it's been lovely being able to talk, you know, seriously for a change. I can always mess about and, you know, sing and dance anytime. And I thoroughly enjoy doing that. But I also like to have a discussion and to learn what you guys think. And it's been interesting. It's been really interesting. And it's nice to hear that you don't all agree with the same things. And you can put your own take on things, you know. And as you sort of go through life, hopefully you'll go through life with your eyes open and with your hearts open. Because there's too many people that go through life blinkered and they've got their own thoughts and they're not going to deviate from those thoughts. And they're the sorry ones, really, I think. They're the sad individuals, you know. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, hang on. Sometimes I feel spiteful of these typical people. They think they are so good and yet just bully to get attention. They can't stand up to anyone and are plain uninteresting. Right? You don't have to say anything, darling. If you've got nothing to say, that's fine. Just the fact that you spend an hour of your time coming to see this means the world to me. So don't ever apologise if you don't talk. It doesn't matter. It's just the fact that you have actually chosen to come in and speak to me. Sorry, Brandon. Brandon, what were you saying, darling? Sometimes I feel spiteful of these typical people. They think that they are so good and yet bully to get attention. Who are we talking about, darling? Are you talking about homophobes and racists? That's absolutely true. Thank you, Tam. I love you too. And I do love you guys. You guys are just wonderful for me. And I can be myself. And, you know, it's nice to have serious conversations sometimes. And I will listen to you. If you want me to discuss something, as long as I know something about it, I'll talk about it. And if you really want to discuss it, then I'll do a bit of research. Oh, thank you, Tam. Thank you. Well, I really enjoy coming on and spending some time with you. No football on tonight. No, but I do. I really enjoy coming on. You brighten my day as well, you know. And you help my anxiety, which is good. You definitely help. I just think you'd probably get bored of me if I went on for longer. You know, today I went to my therapist. I'm losing my voice. I went to my therapist today and I told him about the YouTube and he was really pleased. And I said to him, the thing is, I feel I live in quite an oppressed world where people don't like who I am. They don't accept me for who I am, and I don't care if it's strangers. I couldn't give a toss if it's strangers that don't like me. But when my family are saying things like, oh, Mum, you know, and they're sort of showing signs of like being embarrassed by me or not accepting me for who I am, then I find that really difficult. So by coming on here, I can be exactly who I want to be, and I don't have one of my kids going, because that's what they do, and that's really hurtful for me. And anyway, so I was saying that to my therapist today, and he said, oh, well, that's really good. He was really pleased I was doing it. I said, and I've got this lovely little group that come on. God knows why they want to see me, but we're building a community, and we like it. I don't think I'm going to talk about the football tonight, darling. But maybe another day. Maybe we can save that for Saturday, because after Saturday, we'll know whether we're still in the World Cup or not. So Saturday, I'll either be all happy and smiling, or I will be well fed up because we're lost. To be honest, have I seen the tennis? I've seen a little bit of the tennis. I'm a bit bored of it, to be honest. I've watched like 10 minutes of it. It is a bit of a bore fest. After the football, it's a bit of a bore fest, I think. So I want you guys to have the best few days you can possibly have. That's good to hear, Brandon. So it's helped you. That's really good to hear. Yeah, we shouldn't be ashamed. We shouldn't be ashamed of going to see a counsellor. They help you, don't they? You guys have a lovely few days. Saturday is going to be manic for me. Oh, it's not Saturday I come on, is it? It's a Sunday. Oh, that's all right then. So, because I've got a really busy Sunday ahead, Saturday ahead. Oh, I've just thought it's my grandson's birthday. But I should still be able to do the live stream. So don't worry. I think we all understand you, Brandon. Maybe we'll talk about that one day. What do you think, boys? Do you want to talk about depression and anxiety, or is that too depressing for a Wednesday? Let me know, please, before I go. Write down, let me know if you want me to, if you want us to make that a Wednesday topic. Happy birthday, Ollie! Happy birthday, darling. Okay, I'm going to go. Ollie, have a fantastic birthday, and I'll see you on Sunday. Love you all.